and that's also how I really like how you present yourself, because it's different than,
so I don't see that competition that maybe you see. There's loads of web designers out there, but there's loads of yoga teachers, there's loads of chefs, there's loads of everything, and I have just never seen anyone as competition as me. To me, I think there is more than enough work to go around, and with the pandemic, there's actually even more now, because more people want to be online, more people want a website, more people realize that the online space is now the safe space to be, to teach, to share their knowledge, to get more clients. If you weren't online before the pandemic, surely now, almost 2 years later, you are online. And I've always felt like there's more than enough work to go around. And when you have that mindset, then it works. And I've had people say, oh, I'll pass clients your way as long as you give me commission. Or I've passed clients to other people, and they say, do you want commission? And I'm like, no, I'll pass clients to you, and I know that you will maybe pass that on to someone else, or it will come full circle back to me. The ripple effect, it comes back to you. And I've just never seen that. But going back to, Instagram and comparing things, I've found what really works for me is sitting down and defining, my direction, my future. What do I exactly want? And so, I'll see someone on Instagram having a photo shoot because they do revamping their website. And I'll go back to my goals and be like, well, that's not on my goals for 2021. So good on you. Enjoy your photo shoot. It's not part of my kind of direction and my future, but enjoy it, because sometimes you'll look at someone else and they might be launching a course, and then you think, oh, should I be doing that? Is that what I'm supposed to be doing?
Is that what it's supposed to be doing?
But when you've actually got your own goals, then you don't question that.
It's actually also very much that focus.
You come from that space of, oh, congratulations, that's really awesome, and then that actually makes it more positive. Otherwise, you just get the hell off Instagram, which is what I've done for this month. I've just decided. It's been a very tough year. I'm taking a break. I'm not seeing what I want from Instagram. Is Instagram the platform for me?
Exactly.
It's questionable. And I think there's been a lot of influencers who have also thought the same lately. Is that the platform for us?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because it comes up in, if you look at my podcast and many episodes, I speak with this to anyone, like people in the spiritual practices, another guy who's a coach, like it always comes up, like this sort of thing. And I had the same. I very much feel like, what are you doing for me, Instagram? You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of, and it is interesting because, but what I find, and this is also another question I would really love to ask you, because I think listeners would love that, is like, how do you find your people? Because I think a lot of people think that Instagram, like myself, like, oh no, if I'm not on Instagram, no one's going to find me, no one's going to know about me, like, how do people find you, or how do you find people to find you,
So most of mine is word of mouth, and it has been from the beginning of my business. It's been do one good job, the next person, and then that person comes back to you and refers the next person. And those have been the long time true followers who are still around to this day, who still ask me to do work or still pass clients my way. And I think that has been the biggest thing, is doing, when you do one good job in the beginning.
It's funny. It's so funny because in yoga we say that as well. You only have one student. And, if that one student will tell someone else, and then they tell someone else, and they tell someone else, it's really good advice, because are you ever worried that you won't have work? Or
all the time? But my thing is, and I've got a business bestie, or my work wife, as I call her. It's like, this is a constant thing that we talk about together is, oh my gosh, I don't know when, but it's that absolute trust and faith. And then we say to each other, when in the last 6-7 years have you ever struggled with finding clients? And if you didn't have clients, what would you do? And I was like, I do this. We'll be fine. And the next day after having that kind of conversation with each other and just putting our trust and faith back in our abilities and the universe to provide, next day, the clients show up, the inquiries show up, and it has just time and time again, it's just proven itself, but we still have those wobbly moments of like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to get another client, but we do. We always do. It always shows up.
That's a beautiful thing also about, I think it's nice, right, to have someone there who you can also kind of brainstorm with, and like someone to pick your brain, I think that's super helpful.
When I went into starting my own business, the one thing that I asked for was a business bestie, like someone I could bounce ideas off. And it was so random because we she had a blog. She was a blogger, like a big South African blogger at the time, and she lived in the same town as me, and I read her blog. And then I decided, you know what, I'm just going to email her and I'm going to ask her to go for coffee. And she was like, cool, let's do it. Next thing, we like best friends. And
that's so great.
And, now she lives back in England, but we probably chat to each other more now that she lives far away than when she lives closer. And we just get each other. We're not in the same industry. We're in, kind of parallel industries, so that we work together quite often, but we just get each other and we understand each other. And when she is having a bad day, I'm probably having a good day, and we can help each other along. Like I can give her positive advice and vice versa.
I think it helps a lot. Like I think that like I used to run my own cafe, I think because of Footprints Cafe, remember the website. Because we also go way back now, Nicola. We do. You've been doing some work for me. But Lisa and I, we always said that, like, because we were business partners, and when other people would ask us, like, what is your secret? Or, if I want to start my own cafe, what should I do? Is like, find a partner. Like, do not do any of this stuff alone. Like, it's just too hard,
but people want to do it alone. Like, I think people like, I can do this alone. And I'm like, you can't, you can do it alone. But it's going to be lonely and it's going to be more difficult. And it's just sometimes just having that sounding board of what do you think I should do in this situation? What must I do, or what would you suggest? And whether you take the advice or not, that's totally up to you. But
I think like having these guides in life is so important, right? Like to have this kind of like I do it with you also a lot of times, but I have an idea in my head, like, what would your advice be? Do you think this is good? And I take that very serious because I think you're extremely professional and very good in what you do. So I hear, does everybody hear that? If you need someone, go see Nicola. Get in touch. But I think that's important because you do know things that I, like, man, I don't know nothing about JavaScript, algorithms, freaking, that kind of type of the business. I just don't know. And I'm because in that sense, like, I am so grateful that there's people like you and Maria and, in my life, because I have it in my head, but I just can't, and to me, it's extremely important to have a good website,
Oh yeah.
Because that's another question I want to ask you. Do you feel our website still very important or has that changed, or how is that going?
I think you can probably see the smirk on my face.
Yeah. Great question. Thank you for this question.
Remember, like, I don't know if it was 2 months ago. Was it 2 months ago? And Instagram went down, and Facebook went down, and whatever else went down for like 6 hours or something. And everybody was in a panic. And then it's like, well, what now? So you don't own Facebook, you don't own Instagram, you don't own Pinterest, all of these social media platforms, and they can just disappear. I have seen so many influencers in the last month lose accounts where they've got 20,000 followers, 100,000 followers gone in a day. No idea why. What have they done on Instagram to just lose their accounts? And to me, you own your website, you own your email list. Those are two massively important things that you need to be in control of. And a lot of people, they build a website and then it's okay, cool, I've got a website. And I'm like, no, your website should be changing with your business, because if I look back, my business was like it was before March pandemic hit last year, and things have changed a lot for me as my business in 2 years. So my website should reflect that, and my services should change, and I should be adding new opt-ins and trying to get people to my website, not to my Instagram. So yes, I 100% believe that that having a website is important. It's another way for your business to get found. I'm not saying it's the be all and end all of everything, but it's a huge part of the puzzle in your marketing. So, like you've got that as a big piece of your puzzle, and then you've got Facebook and you've got Instagram that comes into it. And those are like your little men that go out, they go spread the word, and then people come back to your website.
To the main street.
To the main street. And that's where they should be. And that's where you want them to keep coming back to. You want them to be looking at your website, downloading your content, ultimately getting into your email marketing list. Because I think that's another important part as well, is getting people's email addresses. You own that content. Maybe you don't own MailChimp and you don't own ConvertKit, but you own those emails and you can download them and save them somewhere safe. So you can't save your Instagram followers.
Exactly. No, I really like also this ownership that the way you're explaining it as ownership. It's so true, right?
It is. Okay, yes, sometimes your website might go down, but you can take a backup of your website, which we hope you're all doing. Taking a backup, and you always have your website. You don't always have Instagram.
And I do think, I take people more serious if they have a website. And ever since I started my own business, which I was like 18 or something when I started in the theater business, I've always had a website, and I always wanted to make sure that whatever happened, like I wanted to have a good website, and I still do. I mean, you can tell that people, even when they see your business card and, and then they go to you, or and when you just when we launched my new website, and so many amazing feedback from people, and you're like, I'm also really proud of it. Like, it made me proud to have a very good looking website that also can be with you for quite a while, because I'm ever changing all the time. Then I do this, and then I do that, and then I focus on this, and then I focus on that. So sometimes it's hard, because I always if I could, I would have a new website every 6 months or something. But it's nice to have something there that just, as you say, changes with you, and it's it's ever evolving as the times are, and
and having beautiful. A website makes you more professional. If you go to someone's Instagram profile and they don't have a link in their bio, you kind of question. It's like it's like, also I don't know if it's you, but like for me, if I go to someone's Instagram and they don't have stories, I'm like, why have you not got any stories? I really need to get to know you a little bit more on a more personal level. So I think the stories is the personal level, but the professional level is the website. So you might connect with them on Instagram, and then you go oh, I need to know just a little bit more about them. And then you go to the website, and if they don't have one, it's that's that next step, and you're not giving them that next step of getting more, buying a product, doing whatever you want them to do on your website.
It's a shame, because there's a missing link there in a way, I think.
And sometimes people think that it needs to be, I think, no, what I see people do is they look at someone who is 5 years in front of them or 10 steps ahead of them in their business, and they think they need a website like that person, and then it overwhelms them. So then they don't go through the whole website process, or they don't even think of contacting a web designer or trying to do it themselves, because they feel so overwhelmed. And it's it's that you're just at the beginning of your journey. So don't look at someone who's 5 years down the line. Just create what you need. And sometimes it's just a simple thing, a simple website. You don't need everything. You just need one page to start with. And that's
absolutely. And be, again, stay in your lane, be where you are, focus on your own goals, that's sort of coming back to that again. And something else that I was wondering, when we were speaking about, you predominantly have a female, you have female clients, and you have kind of that attraction. And is that also on a personal level? Is female empowerment important to you?
100%, yes. I feel like women are just going to take over completely.
Who run the world?
Yeah, girls. All around the world. Yeah. Who run the world? Yeah.
I love that song.
I don't know. It's just, I mean, I also have 2 daughters, and like I